to all the peeps close to me and dear to me, the ones that's been there.
Night after a stunning report from our own K-File, which reveals the Trump-backed candidate for governor in North Carolina, Mark Robinson, has made dozens of disturbing and damning comments on a porn website. Some of the comments are frankly so disturbing that we cannot air them. But they include Robinson writing, quote, "I am a black Nazi, and I wish they would bring it, slavery, back." Robinson also calling himself a, quote, perv while discussing his affinity for transgender pornography. Keep in mind that he has called transgender kids sick and demonic. These comments were made between 2008 and 2012. And at this hour, Robinson is defiant, refusing to step aside. And at this point, Robinson has only 5 hours to do so. 5 hours in order for Republicans to find a replacement candidate. The deadline is tonight at midnight. As for the Trump campaign, they've released a statement trying to distance Trump from Robinson, saying, "We're focused on winning North Carolina."
Did that happen? That must have happened already. Yo, let me see something. What did she just say?
Slavery.
She said 5 hours.
Back.
Let me check how long.
Robinson also calling himself a, quote, perv while discussing his affinity for transgender pornography. Keep in mind that he has called transgender kids sick and demonic. These comments were made between 2008 and 2012. And at this hour, Robinson is defiant, refusing to step aside.
Okay, you know what? I think they missed the deadline.
At this point, Robinson has only 5 hours to do so. 5 hours in order for Republicans to find a replacement candidate. The deadline is tonight at midnight. As for the Trump campaign, they've released a statement trying to distance Trump from Robinson, saying, "We're focused on winning North Carolina and we will not, quote, take our eye off the ball." We're trying to avoid the topic. But here's the fact. Robinson's Trump's guy. This is what Trump's been saying about Robinson for years.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I
bet you would want to keep your eye on the ball when you got all of this to explain. How could this guy endorse this guy, Mark? I mean, it's obvious. He endorsed the sick black dude with inverted racism. They actually endorsed a person like that. You got to think about that in the politics, how dastardly that is, to go find the one with the most self-hatred and empower that one to hate others.
think you are Martin Luther King times 2.
One of the great stars of the party, one of the great stars.
He's a poet. Trump is a poet with words. Martin Luther King times 2. Wow, that was
Lieutenant Governor
genius.
Mark Robinson.
I'm a great supporter of his. You're incredible, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson.
This is a hot politician.
What's up, Donnie?
He's a hot politician. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. A real star, great guy.
Yo, he really hit the canvas for this guy. He hit the pavement for Mark Robinson. It's not just an endorsement. He went out of his way to promote this guy.
Friend of mine, Mark Robinson.
Okay, I just didn't want to leave any ambiguity out there. The Harris campaign tonight is wasting no time highlighting that relationship, posting these images with a thumbs up emoji. Now, Robinson is really crucial in the presidential race because he is running to be governor in.
Let me see that.
With
one.
Star, great guy. Friend of mine, Mark Robinson.
Okay, I just didn't want to leave any ambiguity out there. The Harris campaign tonight is wasting no time highlighting that relationship.
There it is. There's that relationship. That's part of it. But keep in mind, this is a black MAGA person. This person is expressing the black MAGA ideology, Mark Robinson. That's MAGA, black MAGA in a nutshell.
Posting these images with a thumbs up emoji. Now, Robinson is really crucial in the presidential race because he is running to be governor in North Carolina. And Trump's road to the White House runs through North Carolina.
That's not too good for Trump.
That is why this is a major issue.
Hold on, what does that say? The dude called himself a black Nazi also?
It is why the campaign cannot be happy with what he is telling our Andrew Kaczynski of K-File.
This is not us. These are not our words. And this is
That wasn't me. That was AI, y'all. I never said that. Somebody created that account. That was nothing like me. Back then, I swear to you, Your Honor.
not anything that is characteristic of me, nor has it ever been. The people here of North Carolina know I have been. This is not anything that is characteristic.
Not anything that's characteristic of me. That's not at all. I can't look you in the camera, though. I can't look straight at the camera when I say that.
Our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me, nor has it ever been.
Blink.
The people here of North Carolina know I have been completely transparent about my history, all the warts. We
completely transparent. Are you sure about that, Mark Robinson?
Put them all out. We let folks know about it. But the folks here also know my character. They know who I am. They know my voice, so to speak. This is.
I don't know your voice.
This is not my voice. This is not things that we would ever say or even think.
And I'm inclined to believe what they're saying right now.
How do you explain all of the matching details on this profile? The profile on Nude Africa lists your full name as Mark Robinson. The email listed.
Look at that smile. That smile is like, y'all got me, y'all. Y'all got me. Nude Africa, y'all. That's me. All right. He broke a smile.
How do you explain all of the matching details on this profile? The profile on Nude Africa lists your full name as Mark Robinson. The email.
That's that smile of guilt. He's looking right at the camera saying, you got me. You got me. I'm phony. That's got to be hard to be, in the closet and phony at the same time. On top of that, like, that's the crazy part about it. I mean, he just couldn't, it's one thing to been in the closet, but when they find out, and it's all over the news, and when I say in the closet, I don't mean one thing. I just mean about anything in general that's scandalous, like this. And the reason why it's scandalous is because this man himself is anti-trans. See, there's a lot of people that don't really think about the transgender community. It doesn't pop in their head that they're not for it, they're not against it. They're who they are. They're their own selves, and they let other people be. But this guy is not one of those types. This guy is the type, allegedly, from what they're saying, that hates transgender people, but enjoyed at one time or another watching transgender porn. Now, that's what I mean by hate, self-hate. And then when he gets caught flat out there, and this is the perfect smile, dumbass smile, because he's smiling like he doesn't give a damn. He's smiling like he doesn't give a damn anyway. That's the crazy part about it. They caught him flat out open because if you can't prove what you're saying, you know what the result is, right? He would sue the pants off of CNN. He would sue the pants off of anybody saying that if it wasn't true. You know that. Especially he got a couple grand to file the case. He has a couple of grand to lose. You see? So there's no way in hell they would be saying these things, and he wouldn't be saying, if you don't remove that from your channel, I'm suing your ass as of 24 hours from now or 12 hours from now. But he's not responding that way. He's responding this way by smiling. You got me, ha ha ha. But my constituency, they so dumb anyway, y'all.
Listed on the account is an email that you have used elsewhere on the internet, including with your photo. You have used that name, Mini Soldier, on multiple social media accounts.
Let me go back.
Elsewhere on the internet, including with your photo. You have used that name, Mini Soldier, on multiple social media accounts, including Twitter, Pinterest, Black Planet, and YouTube. How can you deny, with all of these matching details, that this is you?
Look, I'm not going to get into the minutia.
Yeah, you're not going to deny it. You're not going to get into that minutia of denial.
How somebody manufactured these salacious tabloid lies. But I can tell you this, there's been over $1 million spent on me through AI by a billionaire son who's bound and determined to destroy me. The things that people can do with the internet now is incredible. But what I can tell you is this.
But guess what you can do that you don't need AI for? You can sue the pants off of CNN. You could. That's what you would do because they're destroying you by printing faulty information, brother, that could hurt your campaign or your career. And that's central to your campaign, Mark. You know, Robinson, what's central to his campaign is those things he mentioned. African Americans should be the ones paying reparations, and his hate for trans people also. Although he loves the porn side of trans community, he doesn't like the out of the closet side of it. He prefers to hide in that and self-hate in that, and sneak around other people pretending like he hates them when in reality he doesn't. He doesn't actually hate them. It's a charade, y'all. It's a charade. This man is a phony trans hater, if you could say it that way. Why? Because deep down inside, something else is motivating him, and it ain't hate. If there's some hate, there's only hate for himself that's there. He gonna destroy himself. Oh yeah, man. You know what I hate about people like this, and it's not just him, but Donnie, that this type of individual is that others use these type of people, and you know that's the obvious, right? But it needs to be stated. People like this get used against everybody else. This fool is used against the argument for reparations in the United States, Black people's history, the one argument that we have that makes us different from others. And this fool would dare try to sell that down the tubes. He should be chased out of town. Really. You would think a mob, you would think Tariq Nasheed would have chased his ass out of town, but no, that's not what's going on. Tariq Nasheed is ducking and diving him because they both support Trump. Tariq Nasheed is basically a MAGA. So, but this is just what they do. They all grifters, man. This guy is a political grifter himself. He surpassed Tariq Nasheed. I'll give him that much. But at the same time, it's still phony, anti-Black, designed to create confusion and rob people of their rightful place, really, of the life they should have.
Again, these are not my words.
You mentioned AI. Are you saying that somebody was somehow manufacturing biographical details to exactly match you using your username? Is that what you're telling me here when you say that?
Look, I have no idea how this was done. I have absolutely no idea how it was done.
But look at how he's making an excuse. He has no idea how it's done. It doesn't matter how it was done. If you didn't do it, then you didn't do it. The rest don't matter how it's done. What matters is who's playing it and who's saying it, and the fact that you're not suing them.
I have 5 weeks left in this campaign to focus on the substantive issues that North Carolinians face. I do not have time for tabloid trash.
Oh no, this ain't tabloid trash. He is the one who said that he called transgenders demonic. That's his opinion. He's a politician. He said that. But then they got him on trans porno sites. I mean, that's right up the lane of conversation of politics, because you don't need hypocrites. You need people that believe the shit that they say. But this guy, that gives proof to not just what he's saying, but what he means when he's saying it. What's behind his politic? What's behind his anti-trans politic is self-hate. Just like what's behind his anti-reparations politic is anti-Black hate. That's what's behind it. He himself has internalized it.
Okay. Well, how do you explain some of this being on the Internet Web Archive? Something that can't be
We
manipulated.
I've made my position clear, and we are done with this.
All right.
I've made my petition clear, and we are done with this. Shit. Try telling the trolls, that doesn't work. No. You done with it? How long did it take them to stop inquiring about Kamala Harris' great grandparents? How long did it take them to do that? How long did it take them to, to keep going over one failure or two failures in a 30, 40-year record, or, how long did it take them did they give it any time? Did they let that go for a moment? No, people hawking Kamala Harris, hawking her for things that she didn't really do and is not. You see what I mean? But this guy, he's like, we're done talking about it. I hate transgenders, and you caught me going on porn sites, and I'm done talking about it. I'd rather talk about something.
Just being on the Internet Web Archive, something that can't be
We are.
manipulated.
I've made my position clear, and we are done with this.
We ain't done with this.
All right, Andrew Kuczynski, who broke this story, is out front. And Andrew, I just want to make sure you're going to go step by step in a moment to explain how certain you are that these comments came from Robinson, since he's bringing up this this AI idea. But I just first want to say, I mean, it's incredible reporting. It is leading news sites everywhere. It's incredibly significant, and North Carolina is so significant. So let's go through what you found. You found many of his comments on this porn website, which is one of the places you found this, have to do with race. What else did you uncover?
Hey, doctor.
Yeah, that's right. We found a series, really, of highly disturbing comments made by Mark Robinson on a pornographic website's message board more than a decade ago. And I want to walk.
See, when they make a statement, we found these comments made by Mark Robinson. That's CNN's way of letting you know, nah, they got you. They know, buddy. They're going to just go out and say it was you because you know it was you, and you can't prove it wasn't you, and you can't prove that they're making this up either. Yeah, it's crazy.
Viewers through just
porn sites, bro. Yo, dude was on transgender porn sites, Donnie. But isn't it always like this? It's the ones that be hating the most that are how many times have people said that? The most homophobic ones, those are the ones you got to question sometimes. Like, damn, are you saying you do this? Mark Robinson was out in town on podiums in front of crowds of people out there talking that transgender shit, talking that anti-transgender shit, and turned out, dude, been watching transgender porn, and they ain't talking about one time, bro. They talking about transgender porn sites. But that's how phony they are, bro. That's how phony this is. That's what I'm saying, man. That whole movement, MAGA, and I hate to say this, but any other movement that associates at all, even tolerates MAGA, like a lot of those FBAs, they want to say they FBAs. Nah, a lot of them is MAGA, black MAGA. They're just black MAGA. They the same. They hate, they hate on something like I'll give you an example of Tariq Nasheed's FBA type. They hate on Caribbeans. Why? Because they want a Caribbean girlfriend or Caribbean. Is that what it is? They hating on Haiti's. Why? Because you want a Haitian girlfriend? Why are they hating on other people? It's because of those reasons, bro. Deep down inside, they feel inferior. They have a lust for these people, and how they show it is through their hate. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Because otherwise the hate is not justified, because none of those people are trying to stop them. You see what I mean? It's like, so it's crazy, man. It almost runs parallel. But in any case, let's hear some more.
A few of the ones that were even allowed to show on TV. In one disturbing post, Robinson defended slavery, writing, quote, "Slavery is not that bad. I wish they would bring slavery back. I would certainly own a few." Another thing.
You see that? This is who the MAGA people support. And the MAGA people that are the black MAGA people, the black Trump supporters, you should be speaking on this. You shouldn't be running from this or hiding from this. You black Trump supporters, you black MAGA people, you're supposed to be confronting this and picking a side on this. Are you for reparations or are you for MAGA? Because this dude is MAGA and he's been talking anti-reparation shit the whole time. What have you done about it, you black MAGA people? Like, yeah, projection, Donnie, flat out. This shit is, and this is some deep projection, yo. It's sexual desire projection. Dude, he's projected his whole everything all over the place. He projected his anti-blackness. He's projecting his, his I don't know, his affair with transgenders, the secret one online. I don't know. This guy's lunching. This guy, Mark Robinson, is lunching. But here's for you Black MAGA people, and here's for you folk that tolerate MAGA. Black people that even tolerate it, even cape for MAGA, cape for Trump. This right here is what your homeboy said, Mark Robinson. Slavery is not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring slavery back. Well, guess what's going to happen if they do bring slavery back? And guess what type of people going to have to, going to have to eat a bullet? You know what I'm saying? First, you could talk all that shit about bringing it back. Let's see who survives. You see what I mean? And Mark Robinson is nothing. I even hate talking this dastardly about people, but Mark Robinson is absolutely nothing else but a damn coon.
I sat on a jury one time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was in 1957, back in Tennessee. Now, the defendant was accused of shooting 3 little white women with a Winchester rifle from about 50 yards away. See, now, he thought he was going to get off with that old I'm blind excuse. But, oh, boy, he had another thing coming.
The jury will now go off and deliberate on...
Guilty! That nigga is guilty!
Sir, settle down. You have to go deliberate.
I don't need to deliberate. Hang that nigga now. I got the rope right
here. Exactly. That's him.
A Jewish slur. He used an anti-Muslim slur. And he even disparaged civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., calling him a, quote, commie bastard, and Martin Lucifer then using a racial slur.
Oh,
right, so
Martin Lucifer? Yo. Hey, Andrea. This is even more stuff than I knew. The only thing I knew was the comment about the women wanting to go back to the days where women couldn't vote, and the comment where he said it's Black Americans that should be paying reparations, if anybody. Those are the comments I knew about. All of this is new to me. But this guy, if I was the KKK, I would have called him Martin Lucifer. Yo, there's something really wrong with Mark Robinson in the head. Like, this is hate. You don't have to denigrate your own history just to be accepted, just for the sake of being accepted by somebody else. People shouldn't require that of you. But for Mark Robinson, he gives that openly to people. His he delivers his manhood on a platter. It's like, yes, sir, master, I'm gonna be a good coon today.
all of this and again, just to emphasize, right, calling himself a black Nazi, right, was another thing you found. He's also said incendiary things about transgender people. We talked about a couple of them, horrific things that he has said about transgender people. But he also admitted on this website to then watching transgender pornography.
That's right. In one of the comments we found, Robinson says that.
Whoa! Mark Robinson, no, you didn't.
He enjoys, quote, watching transgender porn, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in. And then adding, quote,
this guy is toast, man. And I heard he didn't want to drop out of the race. Is that right, Andrea? You heard about that? I think he's still in the race. The Republicans are trying to get him to drop out so they could disassociate, particularly Donald Trump. But you ain't running from this Donald Trump. You next. You next. You're the one who endorsed this clown many, 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 many times. Many times. Oh my goodness. As a matter of fact, how many times?
Unbelievable. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. This is Martin Luther King on steroids. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2.
Mark Robinson, he's out there, he's fighting. He's fighting. He's a great one. I want to thank a very good man, and he's in there fighting. He's fighting, and we know he's a fighter. The next governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson.
He's a fighter, and he's a fighter. And we know he's a fighter. Mark Robinson.
I'm a perv too.
This the man he endorsed.
I mean,
yes.
Warren saying, quote, "That's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in," and then adding, quote.
That's Mark Robinson fetishizing over transgender porn. Mr. Transgender people are Satan and Lucifer and devilish. He's been over there, trying to make out secretly in private, fetishizing, dreaming, wanting, desiring.
Quote, "I'm a perv too."
If that's your thing, that's your thing, Mark. But I mean, why you make it difficult on yourself, brother.
I mean, all right. It's just, okay. It's just incredible. So this is all of these things that you found. And as I said, we're going to go through in just a moment exactly how you know this was him who posted it, because
Mark Robinson need to be going to one of them Diddy parties too.
It's very clear, and the work was excruciatingly detailed. I want to go to Phil Mattingly out front in Washington, though. Phil, as you hear Andrew lay all this out, you were at a Trump rally in North Carolina. He called Robinson on stage when you were there.
I mean, this is the thing, Black MAGA. Even white people know how ridiculous this is. You see, that's really when it's crazy. When you have white folks, it's like, did this man just say black people should be the ones paying reparations? What? Did he just say that? This man, oh my God, he hates transgenders. He's been saying that shit for months. And what? He actually likes them and is on porn, transgender, the porn sites. They noticed this, Black MAGA. They notice. They see it. They see you. They see you, Black MAGA. This is crazy. Wonder what his wife thinks. Do he even give a damn what his wife thinks? Have you heard what he thinks about women? Donnie, I don't think his wife. Yeah, that's an interesting question you asked right there. One, because sounds like a simple question, but if you try to get in the mind and the life of Mark Robinson, it might come out different. Wonder what his wife thinks. And does he even give a damn what his wife thinks? Does he? I don't think so at all. Yeah, I dare say so. And she must be different from Hillary Clinton, because at least Hillary Clinton came out and said, I'm not this lady that's just going to stand by my man. But Mark Robinson got him one of them types. I'm pretty sure.
You noted he called him a good man. And I know today, as K-Files reporting has been breaking and people are just starting to realize the import of this, you have been fielding calls from Republicans. What are they telling you?
Yeah. If you're Black MAGA, then we know you're anti-reparations. If you're pro-Trump, you're anti-reparations, basically. That's really what this is. And not that we didn't know this already. It escapes a lot of people, but you don't really need Mark Robinson to know that. But for the people that don't follow politics in the details of it, the day-to-day details of it, Mark Robinson is an obvious reminder of how these people think and what they want and their ideas and what they feel about you. And what you got to understand is that if you have any dignity, right, and you had any relatives that were victims of this slave trade, you should, what these things that Mark Robinson said about slavery, they should strike a nerve in you. Those comments should strike a nerve in you. Like, you have to know people like that are scum. This man is scum. Can you even imagine a Palestinian, whether you pro-Palestinian or not, could you imagine a Palestinian not, being anti-Palestinian, being anti, state, being against having a state. Could you imagine that? That's Mark Robinson for you. He's the black dude who's against any black agenda, any recognition for the history. And recognition is not a lot, because recognition don't pay the bills. You see, reparations is what is just. And this man stood out there and said, hey, if anybody should be paying reparations, it's African Americans. That's that man standing next to Trump. Trump endorsed this man so many times. He licked his butt, excuse my language, but whatever they up to, that's their business.
And it's been remarkable, those calls, and I'll explain why in a second. But I want to start with that rally down in Asheboro. Mark Robinson didn't actually have a speaking role.
Personally, it's their business. Whatever they up to personally, I don't know. But
that rally, which I thought was surprising at the time. But as you noted, the former president did call him up the stage. He did shake his hand. He called him a good man, said he had to win. And one North Carolina Republican operative I was talking with earlier today said, that's a really important moment for Mark Robinson. I said, why is that? He said, that's the last time he will ever be in public with Donald Trump if this campaign knows what they're doing. You've made very...
But this campaign don't know what they're doing. And on top of that, it's all up to Donald Trump. The campaign is, without Donald Trump, the campaign ain't shit. Donald Trump does what he wants to do. And he listens when he want to listen, and when he don't, F you. That's how Donald Trump rolls. But yeah, now let's see here. Let's go back over to this.
Once Republicans elected Donald Trump, the sort of pearl clutching over things like porn, infidelity, threats of violence. I mean, Republican Party already said that was all fine for Trump. And so the fact that he is just trafficking in the same thing, he feels like he has complete immunity, and he does. The Republican Party has let people, he's not the first, he's not the last, get away with this stuff. The problem is not just for down ballot, it's up ballot. So Democrats haven't won North Carolina since 2008, as you know. They want it so bad they can taste it. And what they are hoping is that this gubernatorial race has an up ballot effect. And with stuff like this over and over and over again, I think they'll get their wish. And of course he's not going to drop out, because with Trump and the right, Trump means never having to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the Trump campaign.
And let me know if Mark Robinson officially dropped out of the campaign. They did say it was 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, USA. That obviously has already passed. So, but let me know if there's any official word. I'm also going to try to see if I can find that also.
He doesn't have to say I'm sorry. He just needs to get out of the damn race.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to apologize. I said, just get out of the race. That's it. Just get out of the race.
You have created a party that doubles down and doubles down and doubles.
Right. He's an elected official that has shown a lot of affinity for Nazis. He should say that he's sorry. See, that's the thing. Like he's an elected official that has power in his state, that has shown, that's cozied up to Nazis, said he wanted to bring slavery back. There should be shame.
Has Trump apologized?
But I'm just saying, like, that's part of what we're talking about.
I understand that point from an emotional perspective, but I'm a strategist. I just would like to win. That's part of the job. This guy's not going to help Republicans win that seat.
That is the point. I don't see an evidence Republicans wanting to win. Well, starting with Trump. I mean, the stuff he is doing is repelling the very voters he will need.
All his campaign doing is trying to create chaos, and hope that it results into some votes, right? And that's their only strategy: offend, hurt, harm, maim, create riots, anything possible, hoping that it turns into votes, because they don't know how to do the other things well, and it's sad, but this is going to be an interesting cycle. But yeah, I feel confident myself. I feel confident that American people are going to reject Trump strongly. That's my view of it. But I'm also understanding that the conversation got to happen. That's how the system works. And we should be happy that we have a month and a half to have this conversation about how wicked and dastardly and anti-American these people are. You see, anti-civil and human rights, these people are. And also traitors to the country. Traitors. The things that they're talking go against the morals and the values of the country. Everything that we did bad that we were supposed to learn from and not do anymore, they have picked up the baton to do all those bad things again. That's the problem. So, and they want to take whatever rights you have away from you. Also, not because there's not enough money, just because they think there's too many non-white people in the United States of America. It's that simple. Although all white people aren't the same, all black people aren't the same, all any kind of people, all Muslims aren't the same, all Jews aren't the same, all anybody's not the same. You know what I mean? But they want to run on that platform of hate. You see what I mean? And you're hearing it. If you think that you're hearing things about Haitian migrants in Springfield, is it Ohio? Right. If you think you're hearing about that because they, for some reason other than their color and their background, you're crazy. The only reason why you're hearing about it is because of their color and their background, because they're not doing anything wrong. They're actually doing everything right. You know, the town's leaders have said that themselves. You see, and but yet they're going to run that narrative and cause whatever harm comes. They don't care. They want to harm that town and anybody that cozies up to black or brown people, pretty much. I mean, that's what they're doing, politically harassing people. They're using the podium, they're using this election to harm people, to incite riots, to set fires everywhere, to create hate and hope, a disaster even, if necessary, and hope that it just translates into votes. And that obviously is an insane, sick, crazy, psychopathic plan, but that's their actual plan.
So I don't think winning anymore is the roadmap.
Trump is polling
it's
the best
power,
he's ever
celebrity,
polled his
and fame.
entire political career.
I take that point.
Ryan, what you're talking
but Trump
about
is,
hold
to
on,
his
sure,
point.
Michael.
Okay, sure.
Ryan, what you were talking about is his favorability rating.
No, his polling. New York Times done a poll yesterday, tied
You're
poll.
in comparison
nationally.
to.
Do you know there are
comparison to
7
other
swing states where this
previous
election will be
races?
decided?
But
It's not a national election.
Here's the issue about
7 swing
North
states.
Carolina.
That's not how that
Here's the
works.
issue about North Carolina. North Carolina is in play.
Yes.
It is actually in play.
Yes.
And this is actually one of the reasons.
I don't know if I would agree with it being in play. It's more competitive, and I will give the vice president some credit of making the state more competitive. Yeah. I don't know if the goal is to necessarily win the state.
More competitive and in play? I mean, that is literally the definition.
I'm going to get to the point. It's more competitive, and I think a part of the Democratic strategy is to force the Trump campaign to spend more resources there versus in a state like Pennsylvania, which is a must-win for both of those candidates if they want to get to 270. That's what I think the strategy is.
Right, and also I would sit there and say of early voting, it is much better for Republicans, at every swing state, mind you, for early voting, for early mail-in requests. Republicans are doing far better than in 2020 percentage-wise.
Trump could also say to Mark Robinson, get out of the race. And guess what? That is not happening either. His campaign, according to our reporting, there's no pressure, according to our reporting, about the Trump campaign pushing him.
He did pull the vice president off of an event.
But if I make a point to Vance's point. Hold on 1 second. So you're saying...
Did he not pull it? He pulled J.D. Vance off
Did
event.
Trump say that Mark Robinson should get off the ballot?
The campaign said, I don't know whether they had a private conversation or not. I have no clue. But they did pull the vice president off of an event with him.
That is not the same thing as Trump saying, which he very well could say.
That's not a full-fledged endorsement either. And
did you hear all the clips? Those were like within the last month.
Yeah, that was before this. Wait a minute, that's before this stuff came out.
That's not the same thing.
Yeah, that's a full-fledged endorsement. Trump endorsement.
Are you guys doubting whether or not Mark Robinson is Trump's guy?
Wait a second.
That
was before the Nude Africa porn site, but it was after the report.
He said people need killing.
That he frequented porn locations in South Carolina. It was after all those other wild statements. It was after the stuff that he said about Martin Luther King.
I get that.
It was after the stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? She made an excellent point, the lady there. She said, Mark Robinson said, some people need killing. He's got a whole speech where he talks about this is how you deal with these type of folks, liberals and all the rest. Some people need killing. He's got a whole speech now. So what about him? He's the one on the transgender porn site. What about him? Is he one of the people in his eyes that needs killing? So I think people it's not really funny because this guy has gone way over the line. People can easily get hurt, shot, hung. We talk about innocent black people being hung and, just here and there, random events. How do you know this kind of speech doesn't motivate people to go out and do random acts of violence like that towards black people? How do you know? That's the whole reason why you don't want to talk that way, why you should look down on people that talk openly that way over the web, because it motivates others to commit acts. Now, what about all these little random lynchings of black people here and there? You can't figure out, random girl disappearing, random. How do you know this kind of speech that Mark Robinson makes doesn't motivate people like that? How do you know that? You see? And the reality is that it does. And it has. You just don't know which one was. You see what I mean? But it's already known that that's why you don't use hate speech. That's why you avoid speech like that, the type that Mark Robinson does, or the type that Sarah Huckabee does, or the type that Trump does, because it incites people to commit acts of violence. It does. And in Trump's case, it just happens that it comes back to him. It's people trying to. It's not like there's not people trying to commit assassination attempts against all presidents or former presidents. They all get it. Obama still gets it. The current president Biden gets it. The vice president Kamala Harris gets it. They all get it. But when somebody actually gets this far, it's you just have to take a note of that and say, damn, people are trying to get to his golf course. People trying to get to it with a rifle, yo. That's how much Trump is hated. But he commits, his speech causes way more people to commit acts of hate than come back to him. That's for sure. So like Kamala Harris said, hey, we're all happy we're all happy Trump is fine. But what about the people in Springfield, Ohio? Are they fine? Can they be safe? Are they protected from acts of violence? Or is it only Trump?
That he said about Nazis. I mean, it was after all of that.
But there are I'm not excusing the veracity of Mark Robinson's claims. I've clearly stated that I would have preferred someone else. My point is the fact that, to Ryan's point, that Trump is appearing to distance himself from the guy. Whether or not Trump comes out and say, look, you need to get out of the race, I have no clue. But I know there are a whole lot of Republicans in North Carolina that are saying we want to win this, and he's probably not the best person to help us win.
Would you want somebody else because you want to win or because you're uncomfortable with a Nazi in your party?
I would want someone else who represents conservative values.
He
and I don't
already
think that's
said
Mark
he wants someone
Robinson.
else because he would win. And that's
Right.
the point I wanted to
Yeah.
speak to. You said people should feel ashamed. And I have to say, I'm not a strategist. I'm not a journalist. And I would say I represent more of the American people and how we really think. And we should feel bad if we say we're Nazis. We should feel bad if we say we like to watch 14-year-old girls in the shower. We should feel bad if we say people should be killed. We should feel bad if we say women shouldn't have the vote. How did your party, from a strategy position?
Yeah, how the hell did Mark Robinson come to say slavery is not bad? Can you believe? Yo, this man is. But guess what? So any surprise Donald Trump would endorse him? Any surprise? This is what they say when they say, nah, Trump's not racist. He got black friends. Yeah, we know he got black friends, but look at what his black friends do and say and believe and feel and want.
Allow itself to get to a point where it doesn't matter.
But
That
no
these things
consequences.
don't matter. There's no consequences.
There was
And
no
we need to have
consequences for
consequences
Bill
in this
Clinton when he was credibly accused of rape several times. And in fact, female groups endorsed him and doubled down on it. There was no consequence for Keith Ellison when he was accused twice of domestic abuse before he ran for Attorney General. And Tim Walz defended him. There is multiple cases of Democrats sitting there and doing something bad. And
Yeah, but you can't go into the past. The past in itself is not an excuse for what you do today. It never is. And what someone else does is never an excuse for what you do. You have to accept responsibility purely for what you do. That's the ultimate goal. So because someone else does something wrong doesn't mean you have to respond in any particular way. You're free to choose the many different ways to respond. You see, you don't have to do what they did. You see, so going back into the past and saying, oh, well, Bill Clinton did this and women. Yeah, but we got to get to a point. This is 2024. You know, there are laws on hate speech. There's laws on inciting riots. The federal government and the local state need to act on those laws because apparently they don't know what it looks like when they're seeing it. And that happens a lot in the law. Like if you haven't used the law ever or once in a blue moon, you may not know what the law is even for, how you're supposed to use it, how it relates to specific acts. But all of that stuff Donald Trump has been doing, Sarah Huckabee, and also Mark Robinson, especially, this is in the realm of hate speech, period. Now, you know, what you think is one thing, but how you say it matters. And there's certain things you can't do. You can't wish harm to other citizens. You can't openly wish that. And you can't openly demean other citizens. You're not supposed to openly just do that, not in a bigoted way. You're not supposed to do it for things that they can't help, for just being themselves. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't disqualify a person for being white or black, having straight hair or kinky hair, for being a girl or a boy. You can't use those markers to disqualify people. So that's what this is about. And so in speech, we also are supposed to be upholding the same value, you know, not disqualifying Kamala Harris because she's a woman and just didn't give birth, biological birth herself to 2 children. Don't punish her because of that as a woman, because when you do that, you're punishing so many women. You're condemning so many women that for one reason or another that you don't really know what it is, can't give birth without risking their life maybe. So you're going to use that to disqualify a person from a job? That's clearly bigoted. You see, that's a gender bias. You see, it's anti-women, you know, in fact, and it's the same thing when you disparage Black people, Haitian people for just being Black, for just being what they are. Can they be a Haitian immigrant without being bad? Apparently not, to some. They're not allowed to just be Haitian immigrants themselves without being bad, lied upon. You know, it's the same thing with Mark Robinson. You mean in your own country where you're unlike any other group of people, you didn't come as an immigrant, you came on a slave boat. Your families had to work for centuries without pay. You know, you had to be property of someone else. That's a different type of situation. And when you hear people openly belittling it, nobody should be belittling African Americans in the United States of America, period. That should make you anti-American, flat off the bat. Because if you don't respect the people who helped build the country for no payment, then why would you respect anyone else? Who could be more patriotic? Who has committed an act of selflessness for the country? What group of people have? Who've committed the most acts of selflessness? So you can't really, you know, this is like some serious stuff that they're doing, that the Republican Party represents. Is they, to be honest with you, MAGA themselves, they need to get the smack down. We're often way too nice because we're intelligent. We know to react the wrong way is not necessarily acting and responding with intelligence, right? It's much better to think things through and know what the result is going to be when you cut than to just start cutting. You see what I mean? But at some point in a very comprehensive and thorough way, MAGA is going to have to get the slap down.
That's when I smack the shit out you. I smack the shit out. That's when
they're going to have to get it. They're going to have to get it because the two things can't exist in the country peacefully, as you can see. See, the Haitian migrants tried to exist peacefully, follow the law, go to work, pay the taxes, and then someone else comes along thinking that it's their right to just go fuck with people for no good reason. You can't have that and be in a free and fair society. Those things have to be eliminated. And although it's 2024 and the country isn't quite there yet where it should be, it's becoming clearer and clearer to a lot of Americans now that are having this conversation that this type of bullshit is holding back the country, is pointless, it's useless, it's the dumb fucks holding up the country. MAGA is filled of dumb fucks and racists, but both. You see what I mean? Some rich racists and some poor ones. And the poor ones are definitely the dumb fucks. The rich ones are dumb fucks too. But they're not anywhere near as much of a joke as the people, the poor folk that follow it. The poor people that listen to MAGA, they should be slapping.
That's when I smack the shit out you. I smack the shit out. That's when.
They should smack the hell out of themselves because they really are looking very, very in need of some serious help.
Party stands by them. That happens a lot.
So you're
also,
saying that you're going to hold yourself to the same standard?
No, probably should not happen.
Then I think
no,
say that.
but that's across the board, right? It can't just be
Chair
from one
Michael,
side.
hang on a second. We have one conversation at the table, not several side conversations. Go ahead.
What was the question? Sorry.
You are holding your own party to the same standard that you say is wrong that the Democrats held their candidates
I said
to.
right in the get-go, he should drop out. I said it right when I first walked in. I said he should drop out. That is the truth. I do feel that way.
Well, he didn't drop out, and Democrats are happy about that because as long as you have a dumbass, misogynistic, racist with a microphone, it helps the Democratic Party gain votes because people are tired of that dumb shit, and especially when you have one really, really like this.
I sat on a jury one time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was in 1957, back in Tennessee. Now, to defend that.
Trump campaign spokeswoman's statement, they are distancing themselves. They are talking about his race, Trump's race in North Carolina, the fact he's won the state twice and needs to win it again. They are not talking about Mark Robinson. Now, when it comes to this story, Aaron, I've been doing this 15, 16 years. I've covered a lot of pretty explosive stories. I've never seen what happened in the hours before Andrew and K-File's story came out as I did today, which was this morning I started getting phone calls from Republicans, both here in D.C., but also some in North Carolina, asking what this story was about. I had no idea. I wasn't involved in reporting it. But the fact is, the campaign or people tied to the campaign were clearly trying to front run, to get out in front of this story, try and spin it in their direction, as you heard the Lieutenant Governor try and do with Andrew directly. That made it significantly worse. The anticipation for this story, because of this, Aaron, a number of Republicans I spoke to said, how could it possibly be worse than what he said in the past? This is no stranger to very, very explosive remarks, offensive remarks in the past. It's part of his brand. And one of those people who said that before the story came out, after it came out, called me and said, well, it was a very high bar, but he absolutely cleared that bar. And I think that's the reality now for Republicans. We saw Ralph Norman on Capitol Hill, a South Carolina Republican House member, saying that he needed to resign. Marjorie Taylor Greene saying she needed to learn more about this, but couldn't support someone who has these positions if it's true. How Republicans react in the days ahead is going to be instructive. But one thing that's really important right now, Aaron, you have seen nobody come out and defend him or support his explanation that he attempted to give Andrew.
All right.
Spread like wildfire through all levels of government in our state. WFMY News 2's Nixon Norman joins us now with reaction from state leaders on both sides of the aisle.
Sydney, this evening I spoke to Republican Dale Folwell and Democrat Pricey Harrison, both state leaders, and both not pleased with the CNN report that says Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson made racist and sexually graphic comments on an adult website. North Carolina State Treasurer Dale Folwell went head-to-head with Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson during the primary election back in March. Both may be Republicans, but Folwell describes himself as a true conservative and says the reports made about Robinson today stand against those values.
The Republican Party that I have joined nearly 50 years ago is a party that's based on, conservatism, which means to save, common sense, humanity, humility, and ethics. And this reporting that's going on today shows that he has none of those things.
State Representative Pricey Harrison from Guilford County says the accusations are horrible, but not surprising. A report from CNN cites comments Robinson made on a pornographic website more than a decade ago. In the report, he's accused of referring to himself as a, quote, black Nazi and expressed support for slavery.
This is not new. None of this is new. It's been going on for years. Republicans were willing to embrace him and endorse him as the gubernatorial candidate. And now that the information about him is public and it's actually affecting all the races on the ballot, there's urgency.
Both leaders say Robinson's run has been...
No, it's too late now, though. So I say leave him out there. He needs to be the face of MAGA, particularly black MAGA, because they're the ones that are bearing, that have capped for MAGA and this type of stuff. You can't just be black MAGA and then be silent about this guy and be, not wanting to talk about Mark Robinson, his statements, where you stand on the issue. Look, Mark Robinson is basically what they call a sellout, and he doesn't give a damn. People that are really broken inside, they don't give a damn about the people they hurt with their words. Mark Robinson is broken on the inside. This man capped for, he went out there and talked all this stuff about transgender people, even though he could just mind his own damn business, right? Like a lot of people do, do them. Stop worrying about what somebody else is doing themselves. Worry about yourself. Instead of do it that way, he went out there capping against them, right? And only to find out that he himself is the one that's on those transgender porn sites. Himself. He's an enjoyer of that type of material. So this dude is mental. He's bent in the head. You see, and it's the same thing with his anti-black, reparations comments. They're disparaging, deeply disparaging, but they're sickening. They are sickening. A person that believes that looks like him is a sick person inside. Deep sickness. And he's running for a governor's office. He shouldn't be allowed near the trash, to be honest with you. That's close enough for somebody like him. When you're a politician, when you're a public representative, you're not supposed to disparage your own country, disparage the own heritage of the people from the country.
Powered by endorsements, which can have consequences.
What this demonstrates is that in some instances, we don't have elections, we have selections. And when you get the endorsement of the former president and the Republican national chair, who used to be the North Carolina party chair, it's really hard to overcome that.
Harrison.
Exactly. So he was selected. When the reps, the higher up reps, when they go out and canvass for you, when they endorse you, that means you got the nod. They gave the nod to that anti-black stuff. They gave the nod to that. I mean, they gave the nod to the transphobic stuff too. You know what I'm saying? But now they're not worried about the anti-black stuff. That's bad enough. They should have been rejecting him for that alone. How dare you try to disparage the one group of people that sacrificed the most for the country? How dare you? How dare anyone? So that comment about reparations, that's bad enough. But then he just spread it around to transgenders. He's a phony. This guy's out there talking about transgenders, and it's him who's watching transgender porn. It's him who's making comments about, look at this.
All right.
Look at this. Hold on. I'm sorry, but you can never overstate this. These comments are nasty. What he's talking about, man. Look at this.
That this is you.
He's trying to deny it.
Through North Carolina. That is why this is a major. Trump's been saying about Robinson for years.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King ×2.
One of the great stars of the party, one of the great stars in politics, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. I'm a great supporter of his. You're incredible, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. This is a hot politician. He's a hot politician. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. A real star, great guy, friend of mine, Mark Robinson.
Okay, I just didn't want to leave any ambiguity out there.
All right, let me see something here. 2 seconds. Now, this is the comment that he made, this bum by the name of Mark Robinson, this coon of a man, right? I mean, he probably want the law to be changed to where black people are no longer humans. We 2/4 or something, 2/5. He probably wants that too. That's how sick this guy is. But he's the gubernatorial candidate of North Carolina. Woo! Let's go. Check this out.
The groups, and I'll let you know. Okay, I mean, I'm just talking about David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan here.
I know the secret to quickly make presentations.
Sorry about that. Hold on. Here it is.
There are some people that were talking about reparations in this country. They wanted reparations. And I remember I made this particular liberal so angry at me because I told them right to their face, nobody owes you anything for slavery. If you want to tell the truth about it, it is you who owes. It's you who owes. Why do you owe? Because somebody in those fields took stripes for you. Somebody after those fields were ended and slavery was ended, somebody had to walk through Jim Crow for you. Somebody fought wars and died for you. Somebody lived less than because they didn't have what you have, and they did it for you.
And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot.
And Jake asked James Clyburn about that. Also, President Biden had said something recently. He said, Donald Trump has been showing black Americans his true colors for years, an incompetent anti-black tyrant who holds us to such low regard that he publicly dined with white nationalists a week after declaring his 2024 candidacy. Come November, no matter how many disingenuous voter engagement events he attends, black Americans will show Donald Trump we know exactly who he is. What do you think of the support that he's been getting?
I don't think it's real. And I don't know if anybody else would disagree with me at this table. I do think that there are two different things that could be true at the same time. One is that the Democratic Party has for a very long period of time taken black voters for granted. And there is a question right now about the energy that is behind Joe Biden from black voters and supporting him in November. That is true. What's also true and can be said is that Donald Trump is a racist who utilizes racism as a political currency. I can remember going back in studio in 2016 when Jake Tapper was interviewing him about David Duke, and he acted like he didn't know who David Duke was on the eve of the Mississippi primary.
Ask you about the Anti-Defamation League, which this week called on you to publicly condemn unequivocally the racism of former KKK Grand Wizard David Duke, who recently said that voting against you at this point would be treason to your heritage. Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election? Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, did he endorse me or what's going on? Because, you know, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacists. And so you're asking me a question that I'm supposed to be talking about people that I know nothing about. But I guess the question from the Anti-Defamation League is, even if you don't know about their endorsement, there are these groups and individuals endorsing you. Would you just say unequivocally you condemn them and you don't want their support?
Well, I have to look at the group. I mean, I don't know what group you're talking about. You wouldn't want me to condemn a group that I know nothing about. I'd have to look. If you would send me a list of the groups, I will do research on them. And certainly I would disavow if I thought there was something wrong. But you may have groups in there that are totally fine, and it would be very unfair. So give me a list of the groups, and I'll let you know.
Okay, I mean, I'm just talking about David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan here, but...
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
The former president, he's now distancing himself from the controversial Project 2025. That's a massive proposed overhaul of the federal government, which includes firing tens of thousands of government workers and replacing them with Trump loyalists. It also calls for cutting Social Security benefits. It was drafted by longtime allies and former officials in Trump's administration. Trump posted on his social media website that he knows nothing about it and has no idea who's behind it. This comes days after the head of the think tank responsible for the program suggesting there would be a second American revolution.
The fact that he keeps, and even Lindsey Graham said it tonight, that, you know, black Americans have a propensity to commit crimes, etc., to hypersexualize us, to hypercriminalize us, to keep falling into these tropes. That is the type of racism that plays to the base of his party. He says these things to black voters to their faces, the ones who are ignorant enough to be in that room, not talking to them. That's what people miss. Donald Trump is not talking to black voters when he goes down these tropes. He's actually talking to white voters and to his base to churn them up and build in a lot of the resentment that we see. A lot of the things that we see that are going on in this country about people who are coming out is because there's some fear that they're being replaced either by black or brown voters. And when you see him talking down to black folk in their face.
That's clean, sort of clean, a little bit understated. We're going to start with this. Okay, I love this. Let's try and find a pattern.
There is a large swath of the American public who says, I like the way that sounds. And that's the currency that he uses. So I think two things can be true. The Democratic Party has been laying on their asses for too long when it comes to black voters. That is true. You're seeing that catch up with them. And Donald Trump's a racist.
Yeah, but what explains...
So this conversation, you could see this one vid, this was a month ago, right? And it only got 75 views. And you know what? There's a lot of Americans that don't know about this guy, Mark Robinson, because obviously he's in North Carolina. So really only people that either follow politics across the country, across the U.S., or national politics, or people that are from North Carolina pretty much know about Mark Robinson. I mean, and some of the neighbors might know, of course, too, you know, but in general, a lot of people don't know about these statements. And so it's been allowed to go on and on and on. But, you know, don't political parties need a system that weeds out racism, that weeds out discrimination? Don't parties aren't they already supposed to have that built in? Don't they have that in their bylaws? You know, rules about discrimination, rules about conduct, rules about speech. Don't you normally have that when you're a member of a political party? It seems almost like the Republican Party doesn't have rules like that. I mean, or it seems like those kind of rules aren't important for them. Now, keep in mind, what you say is not what you think. So I'm not saying you shouldn't be free to think all types of stuff, have an opinion. But how you express your opinion is definitely 50% of it. And you have to have a way of confronting how you communicate your ideas, you know? And the reality of it is that it's hard to make being stupid look being intelligent. It's hard to fake intelligent. It's hard to do that. And so in a way, it just is the Republican Party. It's the best they got. This is the best. You know, Mark Robinson is the best Black Republican, the best of Black MAGA. He even calls himself the elite, of MAGA. MAGA is like the elite of the Republican Party, This is the elite. This is where their thinking is. This is the highest point of their brains. They're communicating what they think. And what they think is not much. They don't do much thinking about the stuff they're talking about, which is really sad. It's very problematic. But at least there should be regulations to avoid some of this stuff. What happened in Springfield, Ohio, all could have been avoided with just some rules about basic decent speech. You know, and the concept that you don't purposely disparage people. That concept, you know, yeah, and that you don't spread hate, you know, you don't incite riots and incite hate, you know. So they really need to check in on that. But let me rock this one a little bit more. Yeah, let me see.
Says it also shows how politicians today can use what some consider extreme views to get attention.
I might be prejudiced, but I don't think that the Democrats.
And there needs to be limits on that. You can't. And obviously, Mark Robinson is a phony. This is not a person you should trust, right? But, you know, the crazy thing about it is that you have to question, does he even believe what he says? You know, you have to wonder, does he believe what he says? Or is he just doing it as a hustle, a political hustle? Say some extreme things to get some quick attention, capitalize politically, and move on. So there's a difference here. Look at this guy picture. Now, you would hope that this is a man who wants to do good for the elderly in North Carolina. You would think that's what he wants, to do good. Hey, Break Room, what's up, sister? I see you. Thank you for coming through. Hey, everybody, go over to Break Room's channel and subscribe if you haven't. She got some wonderful topics over there, and sister definitely comes through and supports. So I appreciate you a lot, Break Room 411. But back to this, like this picture, you would think that this man who's running for governor really wants to do something to help elderly people, retired people, veterans. You would think that. You would hope that would be the case, right? But it could also be the case that he's just out for himself and his phony, just saying it, doesn't really mean it. It could be that. And when you find out, when a man has been out there doing the, anti-transgender thing, I mean, that's part of his politic. It's a core element in his politic. And then you find out that he himself has been known to hang out in the transgender porn website crew and be Googling, be searching the transgender porn sites, making comments about it. Like he's making comments like, wow, this is great. I love it. I'm not saying he said that verbatim, but really, he's like really making some comments that reflect the individual that enjoys transgender sex. I'm serious, y'all. This guy's comments is crazy. This guy's comments are crazy.
Pain tonight.
I'm sorry. Where the hell is it at? I have to get to the comments. The comments on this is just retarded. It's retarded. Hold on. There it is. This is some of the craziest stuff. Here, let's see.
Robinson defended slavery, writing, quote, "Slavery is not that bad. I wish they would bring slavery back. I would certainly own a few." Another thing that we found was that Robinson used slurs on the website. We found that he often used anti-gay slurs. He used an anti-Jewish slur. He used an anti-Muslim slur. And he even disparaged civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., calling him a, quote, "commie bastard," and Martin Lucifer then using a racial slur.
All right, so all of this, and again, just to emphasize, right, calling himself a black Nazi, right, was another thing you found. He's also said incendiary things about transgender people. We talked about a couple of them, horrific things that he has said about transgender people. But he also admitted on this website to then watching transgender pornography.
Yes, y'all. Yes, he's watching it. He hates them, but he loves them at the same time.
That's right. In one of the comments we found, Robinson says that he enjoys, quote, watching transgender porn, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in, and then adding, quote, I'm a perv too.
Oh my God.
Effing hot. It takes the man out.
I'm so sorry.
Quote, that's effing hot.
This is your boy Robinson, Black MAGA, Black MAGA.
Comments we found, Robinson says that he enjoys, quote, watching transgender porn, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in. And
that's Black MAGA leader Mark Robinson.
That he enjoys, quote, watching transgender porn, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in, and then adding, quote, I'm a perv too.
This is the in the closet Mark Robinson that says those things, right? With the one that, you see, he says those things in the closet in secret, right? But then he goes out in public and is like, hey, go get those transgenders, go get them.
He enjoys, quote.
So he's a phony. You see, he's a phony. And look, let me tell you, these kind of ideas, you shouldn't have to think too long and hard before you realize that a person that's focused on being themselves ain't worried about nobody else. A person that has the freedom and support to do them ain't worried about nobody else. But check this.
He enjoys, quote, watching transgender porn, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in, and then adding, quote, I'm a perv too.
Now notice, he's not planning on suing anybody for these statements. He's claiming he didn't write it. How dare you? Why y'all bringing this up now? But he ain't suing nobody. He's not going for the money for CNN for disparaging his campaign by bringing up incorrect information or, ruining his campaign by, declaring this information that's untrue of me and deforming. No, he's not claiming to be the victim of defamation.
We found, Robinson says that he enjoys, quote, watching transgender porn, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in, and then adding, quote, I'm a perv too.
And so when you see this picture,
consider extreme views to get attention.
You see?
I might be prejudiced, but
you have to ask yourself, he's saying all those things about transgender. Yeah, brave talk, man. And then behind in closed doors, he loves it. But then look when he's talking to the veterans. How you know he gives a damn about veterans? How you know that's not just talk? I can tell you. Mark Robinson don't give a damn about no veterans, y'all. So you got to see a phony and stop making excuses for a phony. This man called Martin Luther King, he said, I wish I could call him Martin Lucifer. And he deserves nothing else but to start off with one of these.
That's when I smack the shit out you. I smack the shit out. That's when.
Yes. How dare you, Mark Robinson? You should keep Martin Luther King's name out your mouth before something happened to you. Flat out. Because I'm going to tell you, there might be some irresponsible people that have no problem talking about others that got murdered standing up for our ethnic group. There might be some that are so silly, some young people that are so silly, but you're not a young person, Mark Robinson. You're supposed to know better. You're supposed to know better than to say those words. You're supposed to know better. You're a coon, Mark Robinson. You're a coon.
I mean, all right. It's just, okay. It's just incredible. So this is all of these things that you found. And as I said, we're going to go through in just a moment exactly how you know this was him who posted it, because it is very clear and the word was excruciating.
Yeah, he's a clown, yo. He's a clown, man. He's a clown. He deserves zero respect, bro. Zero respect. This man dissed Martin Luther King. You don't have to agree with everything. And you know what? Martin Luther King don't agree with everything about you either. Martin Luther King didn't go out begging nobody to agree with everything that he say all the time, or even beg you to agree. No, he's the other person. He put his life on the line for what he believed in, and he got killed because what he believed in at that time was considered a threat to racist. So he died like a man. Mark Robinson hasn't. Mark Robinson is a punk ass who goes around hating transgenders, and then at nighttime is going to sneak onto the transgender porn site, and have his go at it. You know what I'm saying? That's who he is. At least the transgender community want to be themselves. At least they say, I'm gonna wear this goddamn dress today. The dudes. At least the dudes say that and go walk down the street. Mark Robinson, look at him. Look at this dude, man. Trying to hide. He's trying to hide by his, look at that, jeans. What are these? Wrangler jeans, his little, is this what is this? A polo button down shirt or something? What is this? I don't even know. But yeah, in any case, he's trying to hang it. He's trying to fake it until he make it. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to fake it until he makes it. He doesn't have the balls of a real trans dude to put them high heels on and that dress and walk down the street. He'd rather go out there with these people that don't like transgenders and fake it with them. He's gonna mingle in there. Yeah. I guess he figured if you can't beat him, join him. He's like, he don't want to be caught alone. Yeah, so he's going to be the most outspoken about the transgenders. But in reality, he loves them the most. In reality, that's crazy.
Detailed. I want to go to Phil Mattingly.
And then adding, quote, I'm a perv too.
Horrific things that he has said about transgender people. But he also admitted on this website to then watching transgender pornography.
That's right. In one of the comments we found, Robinson says that he enjoys, quote, watching transgender porn, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in. And then adding, quote, I'm a perv too.
Wow. Well, there's the real Mark Robinson for you. Yeah, this is the real one. Y'all been getting the phony. Now we get some of the real deal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is it's pretty. I can't say I'm surprised. I can't say I'm surprised. I think a lot of homophobia, or don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to choose somebody else's lifestyle or agree with someone else's lifestyle. I'm saying you don't have to. You can do you. That's what I'm saying. But you don't even have to worry about what somebody else chooses for themselves. But this is so telling, because this is a special segment of the transphobic community or the homophobic community. It's a special sector because, see, there's some sectors where they really do hate these people, like hate everything about it. You see what I mean? The thought of it is just like the head's going to explode. But that's not Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson is the one that gets sexual pleasure from watching trans men on porn sites. That's different. So there's a segment of that hater squad that's down with it. You see what I mean? And I'm not saying that he can't be down with it. My issue is his politics. Like, why are you down with it, but you're out there faking like you ain't down with it? And then if that's the case, why are you also making disparaging statements about African Americans? Are you just as phony too? Now we know when he's talking shit about African Americans, saying that we should be the ones paying reparations, we know that's phony. We know that's phony, because we know where a person like that is going to end up eventually, trying to push that belief, trying to push back, trying to bring back Dixie into the African American reality is not going to be happening.
That's when I smack the shit out you. I smack the shit out. That's when.
No, we will not be cozying up to the Confederate flag. We will not be cozying up to, Dixie. Dixie. We won't be cozying up to none of that.
Hello, Stephen, my boy.
Yeah.
What's the matter? Why you so ornery? You miss me, huh?
Oh, yes, sir. I miss you like a hog miss fly.
Yes, we won't be cozying up to that. There is none of that around here. You see what I mean? Somebody's graduated. We may not have graduated all the way to we haven't gotten the final diploma, the master's degree, the PhD, the doctorate, but we got the high school diploma. we got the certification, the technical school point. You see what I mean? The middle ground. We still got the rest of the way to go. And for us to go the rest of the way, we have to call these coons out and these confused people. This man is terribly disturbed. He's terribly disturbed. You see, he is, because he doesn't have the gall to live his truth. He doesn't have the gall to live his truth, right? He is not, he's not the, I shouldn't make too many jokes about this, but the dude deserves it. He's a hypocrite. He's not the man RuPaul was. I'll put it to you that way. He's the other one. RuPaul was like, I'm going to wear this dress on my show, on this walkway, on broad daylight TV, prime time. And the other dude is like, nah, man, I'm going to hunt down some trannies in the daytime. And then at nighttime, I'm going to be on the internet on the tranny porn site. That's this guy. How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that? We got a joker in the house, somebody who is pure stupidity, pure hypocrite. You see, pure self-hate, pure projection coming out of his mouth. No wonder he's like, African Americans, you need to pay, because really he feels that way about himself. Like, the way he feels about himself is undoubtedly nothing else.
Accused Obama of being a socialist. Others believe that he's a Muslim. Some have gone as far as to label him the Antichrist.
He is the socialist Muslim Antichrist.
This is Uncle Ruckus. He's an Uncle Tom, perhaps the biggest Uncle Tom to have ever lived.
If this nigga gets elected, America is over. You want this nigga to in the same place William Taft and his big wife. She don't need to be in the White House. She should be in the WNBA shooting foul shots. You want my brick? You gonna have to pry it from my cold dead hand, Mr. Obama Hussein.
That's when I smack the shit out you. I smack the shit out. That's when.
You're quite hostile. You're quite hostile. You're quite hostile. You're quite.
That's when I smack the shit out you. I smack the shit out. That's when.
The ones that came later in my life, I appreciate all the blessings God has given me, and I want to repay it to you like this.
All right. It's just okay. It's just incredible. So this is all of these things that you found, and as I said, we're going to go through in just a moment exactly how you know this was him who posted it, because it is very clear, and the work was excruciatingly detailed. I want to go to Phil Mattingly out front in Washington, though. Phil, as you hear Andrew lay all this out, you were at a Trump rally in North Carolina. He called Robinson on stage when you were there. You noted he called him a good man, and I know today.